Biden's decision to bomb Syria last week to target an alleged Iran-backed militia has already hurt the chances of the United States re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. The Pentagon, by the way, called its assault a response to recent rocket attacks on US forces in northern Iraq. Those attacks came more than a year after Iraq's parliament voted to expel US troops, an order ignored by both the Trump and Biden administrations. So US troops shouldn't be in Iraq anyway. And it's also important to note that this Iran-backed militia that attacked US troops was allegedly doing so after Trump decided to assassinate its top general. And of course, that followed Trump's decision to just rip up the Iran nuclear deal. And so, as you know, in Syria, we had a proxy war taking place. You have several countries involved, including Iran, you had Turkey involved, you had Russia involved, you had the United States involved. And so that's the reason why the airstrike happened in Syria, where this Iran-backed militia allegedly was. Now, after the US bombing in Syria last week, Iran decided to reject an offer by the European Union to sit at the table with the United States in order to negotiate re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. Iran has rejected the opportunity to discuss the future of a nuclear deal with the United States. Now, they had said that it was considering the offer to meet, signaling EU brokered negotiations were mere days or weeks away, but that maybe turned into a no on Sunday. So there are consequences for Biden, giving the green light for that airstrike in Syria. And it's also notable that Biden has refused to implement sanctions or a travel ban against Iran, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who through a now declassified report did in fact order the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, a former Washington Post columnist and also at the time a US resident. So Biden obviously taking it easy on Mohammed bin Salman, but obviously attacking Iran to quote unquote show them a lesson. Teach them a lesson for what they did in allegedly attacking US troops in Iraq.
Yeah, again, such a Biden strategy, a weird quarter loaf, pointless strategy. So let me break down the policy and the politics, and then I'll get to Iran. So with the bombing, some reports say that they killed 22 people in Syria. Now, if you're going to send a message to Iran, one, you could do a bombing in Iran. Now, I don't suggest that would be disastrous. But that would be sending a message. Or you could do it in Iraq to their militias in Iraq that sometimes have carried out attacks against us. But even that would create diplomatic problems with Iraq. So they instead bombed Syria, where it's open season. And if your bombs fall astray and they kill citizens, who cares? Everybody's killing Syrian citizens. And I find that reprehensible. You know who cares? I care. Decent people care. Okay, we don't want random civilians dying in Syria just because you think it's a diplomatically safe place to bomb. So the policy itself is wrong. The politics of it is totally wrong and counterproductive. Republican voters, independent voters, and Democratic voters don't want us to start any more wars in the Middle East or do any of these bombings. So Biden goes, oh, well, look, I'll make Trump happy, Saudi Arabia and Israel happy, defense contractors happy, and I'll piss off the overwhelming majority of American voters by going right back to bombing in the Middle East. And why? To back up a Trump policy? That makes no sense at all. Such a Biden move, okay? So, and then now finally, when you look at all that, what should they do? Well, Iran says, well, we don't want to talk to you. I disagree with that. So that's stupid of Iran, if you ask me. It's also counterproductive. By the way, why? Because there are conservatives in Iran who say, no, America keeps bombing us and killing us, and they killed our top general, and they backed out of the deal that we had. No, don't talk to them. All they're gonna do is screw us over again. So that's the Iranian government responding to pressure from conservatives in their country. Biden is responding to pressure from conservatives in our country. Stop listening to conservatives. All they want is war. Okay, and even now, conservative voters in this country don't even want war anymore. Only conservative politicians and donors do. So finally, the answer is just sign the deal. Biden, we already had a deal. You wrote the deal. just re-sign it. It's not at all complicated. There's no need to renegotiate it. And I don't know why you would renegotiate it on behalf of Donald Trump. That's maniacally stupid. Don't do that. Stop the bombings, get back into the deal, problem solved.
I want to go to this video featuring Ro Khanna. He was interviewed by Democracy Now! This morning, and it's really important to shed light on the illegality of what Biden did in ordering those airstrikes in Syria. Take a listen to what Representative Ro Khanna had to say.
Well, this is not an ambiguous case. The administration's actions are clearly illegal under the United States law and under international law. We do not have any authorization of military force to go into Syria. In fact, President Obama tried and then backed off in getting that authorization. We do not have any authorization of military force to attack Iran. The idea that this was an imminent attack on US self-defense are simply not borne out by the facts. And under international law for self-defense, we have to go to the United Nations. The administration did not do that. So my concern is that this president ran on ending endless wars, ran on respecting the United States and international law, and these actions clearly violate both.
Once Biden started announcing his Defense Department, appointments, it was very clear to me that Biden was not going to be different in foreign policy in any way. So honestly, these moves aren't very shocking to me. However, the argument that the United States was just trying to defend itself is a pretty disgusting argument, because remember, if it's proven, and it has not been proven yet, that this was an Iran-backed militia that targeted US troops, I'm not just gonna believe what comes out of the Pentagon, because they've lied to us, especially in regard to Iran before. But even if it's proven, understand why the retaliation happens in the first place. The retaliation happens when you have the United States president, in this case Donald Trump, rip up a negotiated multilateral nuclear deal, and then proceed to slap Iran with sanctions, even though they were still following through with the Iran nuclear deal after Trump had ripped it up. And then after that, Trump takes out their top general. And I'm not trying to defend the general, but my point is, if you're attempting to quell tensions, if you're attempting to approach things diplomatically, you don't then go and order airstrikes against the Iranians in Syria to make a point about how you're gonna hold them accountable, and simultaneously refuse to hold Mohammed bin Salman accountable when he ordered the assassination and dismemberment of a US resident and Washington Post columnist. So this argument that it's just self-defense is so stupid. And yeah, Biden broke the law in doing what he did, because Iran did not pose an imminent threat to the United States. It was not an imminent threat to US security. So to make this decision unilaterally without Congress being able to weigh in is a problem, definitely.
So Ro Khanna is becoming a bit of a legend now. He pushed forward on the $15 minimum wage and got the progressives in the Senate to go along too. And on this issue, he's been leading from day one. And he led with Bernie Sanders on this, and he was Bernie Sanders' national co-chair. And here he's having the courage to say what a Democratic president did was illegal. You have to understand, I've been covering politics for a quarter of a century, and I hate to say that, but it's true, okay? And I don't think I've ever seen a Democrat stand up to a Democratic president in those 25 years. It's been overall incredible cowardice. But now there's someone with guts who's willing to say, this is what's real, love it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.